Speed is not just about numbers. It is about intent. Every machine that reaches for more power tells a story of risk, ambition, and timing. Somewhere between engineering precision and cultural identity, a few rare builds redefine what a brand can be. When a nameplate known for tradition suddenly breaks its own rules, the result can shake loyalists and thrill newcomers alike. This is the story of such a gamble. A story of metal, muscle, and momentum turned into a statement. Today we explore how a company famous for rumbling heritage decided to chase sheer performance, rewriting its own reputation in the process. If you appreciate the fusion of legacy and innovation, hit like, subscribe, and tell us which machine you want to see next. The 2019 Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 was not born in quiet rooms. It was conceived in a moment of urgency. Harley-Davidson faced a changing landscape where younger riders favored agility, technology, and speed over nostalgia and chrome. The FXDR 114 represented a bold attempt to merge Harley's thunderous identity with modern performance expectations. At first glance, the bike looked unlike any Harley before it. Long, low, and muscular, yet stripped of the ornate details that had defined the brand for decades. It was built to challenge perception, a cruiser that could corner, accelerate, and stop with athletic precision. Beneath the sculpted bodywork, the Milwaukee 8 114 cubic inch V-twin pulsed with 119 pound-feet of torque, a figure that hinted at raw potential. Engineers paired that engine with lightweight components. An aluminum swing arm, composite subframe, and reduced steel in the chassis all cut weight without compromising strength. The result was a machine that could sprint from a standstill to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds, placing it among the fastest production bikes in the company's long history. But numbers alone could not tell the full story. The FXDR 114 symbolized a strategic pivot, a declaration that Harley was ready to evolve. Inside the company, this bike was viewed as a bridge between generations. A motorcycle that would appeal to power seekers who wanted the pulse of a Harley but the responsiveness of a sport machine. The design language reinforced that mission. A sweeping intake snout replaced the familiar round headlamp, and a stubby tailpiece echoed dragstrip minimalism. Every visual cue spoke of motion and acceleration. Nothing about it felt ornamental. Harley even equipped the FXDR with inverted front forks and a performance-tuned suspension, ensuring that it could lean deeper and recover faster than its siblings. The chassis geometry favored stability at high speed, yet steering remained surprisingly quick, a balance that required delicate tuning. For riders accustomed to Harley's traditional feel, the FXDR demanded a new approach. It was not a bike to cruise casually, but one to engage fully. The ergonomics leaned forward, placing weight on the wrists and shoulders. The stance felt more fighter jet than rocking chair. This physical demand mirrored the philosophical one. To ride the FXDR was to accept Harley's challenge to its own legacy. The company wanted to show it could build a bike that went beyond boulevard posing, one that could hold its own in performance comparisons without apology. The transmission and gearing reinforced that ambition. Each shift carried purpose. Each throttle roll promised immediate response. As testers soon discovered, the bike's acceleration felt relentless. Torque arrived low and surged through the mid-range, a sensation rare in big cruisers. The intake noise amplified that aggression, giving riders both sound and surge in equal measure. Harley called it drag-inspired, and that was not marketing hype. Every inch of the FXDR pointed toward the quarter-mile. Still, speed was only half the equation. Harley's engineers had to ensure the bike could handle braking and stability at the limits. Dual front discs with 4-piston calipers and ABS brought confident stopping power. The wide rear tire gripped firmly yet allowed slight slide under heavy load, offering drama without chaos. The FXDR felt alive in ways most Harleys did not. Each input from the rider translated directly into movement. It rewarded precision, punished hesitation, and invited mastery. The riding experience carried emotional intensity. Those who expected a relaxed cruiser found instead a machine that demanded attention, urging them to push harder. It was a test not only of engineering but of identity. By choosing to pursue outright performance, Harley risked alienating its faithful base. Many traditionalists saw the FXDR as a departure from everything the brand represented. Gone were the flowing fenders, the chrome accents, the deep bucket seats. In their place stood an aggressive profile, matte finishes, and functional minimalism. Yet for others, this was exactly what Harley needed. proof that evolution was still possible within the motor company's walls. The FXDR became a talking point far beyond sales charts. It was a symbol of rebellion against stagnation. And rebellion, after all, had always been part of Harley's DNA. The key difference now was that the rebellion was directed inward. To understand how far this machine stretched the brand's boundaries, one must appreciate its context. The motorcycle market in 2019 was fragmented. Adventure bikes and sport nakeds dominated attention, while cruisers struggled for relevance. Harley's strategy involved expanding its lineup toward electric and performance segments, and the FXDR served as both experiment and statement piece. It was not meant to outsell the Softail or Fat Boy. It was meant to prove a point. That point was simple. Harley could still surprise the world. When journalists first tested the FXDR, reactions were divided but intrigued. Some praised its cornering stability and mid-range thrust, while others lamented its departure from classic comfort. Few, however, denied its presence. Parked among rivals, the FXDR looked purposeful, almost predatory, with a visual weight that implied performance. Its stretched stance and single-seat setup reinforced its focus. This was a solo mission, a personal duel between rider and road. In many ways, the FXDR reflected Harley's mindset at the time. Confident, restless, and aware that it needed to evolve faster. The motorcycle embodied both strength and vulnerability. Strength in engineering excellence, vulnerability in the risk of rejection. The FXDR 114's debut was not just a product launch. It was a referendum on Harley's future direction. And as sales reports and owner feedback began to flow, the outcome of that gamble became clearer, revealing how much courage it takes for a legend to reinvent itself while keeping its soul intact. The Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 carried the weight of expectation heavier than its own curb mass. Inside the motor company, engineers and designers had been told to think differently, to create a motorcycle that could change public perception while maintaining mechanical authenticity. The FXDR became that mission in metal. It was the technical culmination of years of research into frame stiffness, mass centralization, and airflow efficiency. The air intake alone was a statement. Oversized, forward-facing, and designed to gulp oxygen directly into the Milwaukee 114 engine. It was not decoration. It was purpose. Riders who experienced the machine quickly realized it responded best when ridden hard. Throttle response was immediate, torque delivery broad and unrelenting, and the exhaust note more mechanical than musical. This sound reflected Harley's desire to communicate power rather than nostalgia. Traditional cruisers encouraged laid-back rhythm, but the FXDR insisted on urgency. The 6-speed transmission felt shorter in gearing, keeping the engine in its sweet spot. Rolling on power out of corners revealed how much thought had gone into weight distribution. The aluminum swing arm and lighter wheels reduced rotational mass, helping the bike pivot more quickly than its siblings. On the highway, the FXDR settled into a low, aerodynamic posture. The rider leaned forward against the wind, experiencing a sensation closer to sport riding than cruising. Long stretches became endurance exercises, not in discomfort but in control. Small body movements influenced balance, throttle finesse controlled smoothness. It was a motorcycle that rewarded skill. Harley did not design it for everyone, and perhaps that was its greatest strength and flaw combined. The FXDR 114 demanded physicality and commitment. It was not a casual Sunday machine. It was a focus statement that asked riders to meet it halfway. That focus extended to its braking system. Dual front discs with 4-piston calipers provided strong stopping confidence, while the rear brake offered stability during aggressive deceleration. ABS came standard, blending safety with performance intent. The suspension setup used a coilover monoshock at the rear and inverted forks up front. This gave the FXDR a sense of modern control unusual in Harley's lineup. Feedback from riders noted sharper handling, quicker lean transitions, and less chassis flex under load. The FXDR could corner at lean angles up to 32.8 degrees. Impressive for a bike that still carried classic cruiser geometry. Every ride revealed how deeply the engineering team had studied both sport performance and drag racing heritage. Harley's aim was to merge those worlds into one cohesive experience. In the city, the FXDR turned heads simply because it did not look like any Harley people recognized. Its long aluminum intake, minimalist tail, and exposed rear wheel created an industrial aesthetic. Some called it futuristic, others unfinished. The truth was somewhere in between. The styling spoke to function above all else. Even the composite subframe contributed to weight reduction, trimming over 10 pounds compared to steel versions. Harley had achieved measurable performance gains without abandoning V-twin's soul. Yet those choices came at a cost. The FXDR's riding position, with forward controls and a long reach to the bars, alienated some riders seeking comfort. Fuel capacity was smaller than expected, range modest. The single seat limited practicality. But to those who understood its purpose, these were acceptable compromises. The FXDR existed for thrill and focus, not convenience. On open roads, that mission came alive. Each twist of throttle translated into immediate response. Acceleration felt linear yet forceful, carrying the bike through speed with minimal vibration. Wind resistance increased sharply past highway limits, but the aerodynamic bodywork managed flow well enough to maintain stability. Even so, at speeds above 100, riders needed to crouch close to the tank to reduce drag. It was a visceral reminder that this was Harley's fastest production bike, not merely by engine but by intention. The FXDR became a bridge between cruiser and muscle bike. At organized track tests, it surprised many observers with lap times close to certain sport models. The cornering clearance and braking consistency allowed confident repetition. This was Harley's mechanical rebellion made tangible. However, outside controlled environments, the motorcycle faced a tougher challenge: market reception. Dealers loved its engineering, but struggled to explain its identity to customers. It was too sporty for traditional Harley buyers, too heavy for sport riders considering alternatives. The result was curiosity without conversion. Sales started modestly and remained there. Still, the FXDR achieved what it needed to. It proved that Harley's engineers could deliver a technically advanced, performance-oriented machine capable of rivaling other manufacturers on objective measures. The bike's influence spread beyond its production numbers. Internal reports showed that lessons learned from its frame design, suspension tuning, and mass reduction carried over into future models. The FXDR was a testbed for innovation under the familiar Harley badge. It also forced the brand to confront the limits of heritage. How far could Harley modernize before losing its identity? The FXDR was that question in physical form. Some purists argued that it abandoned authenticity for speed, while others believed it represented the only path forward. This internal conflict mirrored the industry itself, where brands rooted in tradition faced an evolving audience. Younger riders sought connectivity, lightweight handling, and contemporary design. Harley's attempt to meet them halfway was commendable but risky. The FXDR's production run lasted only a short period, yet its story endures as a lesson in adaptation. Those who owned one often described it as misunderstood brilliance. It was not a beginner's motorcycle nor a commuter's friend. It was a specialist built for those who saw Harley's potential beyond its stereotypes. The FXDR 114 embodied courage, both mechanical and corporate. By daring to reinvent its own language, Harley showed it was willing to face criticism for the sake of progress. That willingness became the quiet victory within a commercial struggle. Even if the FXDR did not fill showrooms, it filled an essential role in Harley's evolution. It showed the company how to build for a future where performance and heritage could coexist, if carefully balanced. And in that sense, it remains one of the most significant bikes Harley ever produced. By the time the Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 reached the end of its brief production run, it had already sparked debates that stretched far beyond its specifications. For a brand whose image was tied to timeless rebellion and open-road comfort, the FXDR marked a turning point, an unapologetic experiment in modern muscle. The engineers who built it had taken lessons from Harley's drag racing heritage and translated them into a machine that emphasized power-to-weight precision. With its aluminum swing arm, streamlined body, and aggressive stance, the FXDR was proof that Harley could compete in a conversation dominated by sport-oriented performance. Yet, paradoxically, this boldness also created its challenge. Traditional riders admired the craftsmanship but missed the sense of slow, rhythmic comfort that defined the Harley experience. Newer riders intrigued by performance admired the numbers but hesitated at the price and the weight. Between those groups, the FXDR occupied an uncertain space. It was neither classic cruiser nor full sport bike, but something uniquely in between. That in-between nature was what made it fascinating. The Milwaukee 8-114 engine gave the FXDR the muscle of a purebred drag machine. Its throttle response was immediate, torque delivery abundant. Few production Harleys had ever accelerated so fiercely while maintaining composure. But performance on paper was not the only measure. In real-world use, the FXDR showed refinement that spoke of deliberate tuning. Suspension that absorbed imperfections without losing connection, braking that inspired confidence, and steering that responded with precision. This blend of stability and aggression was the motorcycle's true essence. Harley's engineers did not just chase speed. They pursued control. They wanted a bike that made its power usable, not overwhelming. In testing, riders discovered that the FXDR's best qualities emerged when pushed with intent. It liked commitment. The faster it went, the more planted it felt. This confidence inspired many riders to explore their limits safely, trusting the machine's feedback. Still, such performance came with expectations the market was not ready to sustain. Harley had invested heavily in creating a modern image, but buyers seeking comfort looked elsewhere, and those seeking extreme performance gravitated to lighter machines from other manufacturers. The FXDR's appeal was niche, but within that niche, it earned admiration. Its design language would later influence Harley's thinking toward future performance cruisers, and even some electric prototypes. Technically, the FXDR achieved its goal. Culturally, it exposed the boundaries of Harley's brand identity. The contrast between its engineering excellence and commercial outcome revealed how hard it is for legacy brands to reinvent themselves while preserving emotional connection. For the FXDR's creators, however, failure was never the right word. They viewed it as evolution in visible form. Each design decision, from the aluminum components to the shortened tail, represented years of internal debate about how far Harley could go without losing its sound and soul. In that sense, the FXDR became both product and proof of concept. It demonstrated that modern materials and traditional architecture could coexist. The lessons learned informed later models with improved handling and lighter construction. Even riders who never owned one felt its influence through subsequent Harleys that handled better and accelerated faster. The FXDR's existence also changed conversations among enthusiasts. It made riders question what they really wanted from a Harley. Was it the feeling of freedom, the sound of torque, or the aesthetic of rebellion? The FXDR delivered all three, but wrapped in a form that forced introspection. Many came to respect it for that alone. Those who rode it often described an intensity unlike anything else in the lineup, a connection between rider and machine that felt pure and deliberate. Every ride demanded focus. Every corner reminded the rider that this was not a bike for coasting but for conquering the distance between confidence and control. Its design became a metaphor for Harley itself. Powerful, ambitious, sometimes misunderstood, but always authentic. When production ended, collectors quickly recognized its rarity. In just 2 years, the FXDR 114 transformed from a controversial new model to a modern classic, valued for its defiance as much as its engineering. It now represents a snapshot of a company mid-transformation, reaching toward innovation while anchored in heritage. In the broader motorcycle world, the FXDR proved that even the most established brands can take meaningful risks. It reminded everyone that progress does not always mean abandoning the past. Sometimes it means confronting it directly, reinterpreting it through performance and purpose. The FXDR was that confrontation in physical form. As time passes, its reputation grows stronger. What once divided opinion now earns respect. The motorcycle community has come to appreciate its clarity of intent. It was not built to please everyone. It was built to prove what was possible. And by that measure, it succeeded completely. The Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 remains a symbol of mechanical courage. A reminder that innovation in a legacy company is not just about new technology, but about daring to redefine what the badge itself can mean. The Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 stands today as more than a short-lived experiment. It is a benchmark for what happens when tradition meets innovation head-on. In hindsight, it represented one of the boldest moves the motor company made in the 2010s. While it never dominated sales charts, it permanently altered how engineers, designers, and riders viewed the potential of the Harley platform. The FXDR proved that performance and identity could coexist if the brand was willing to accept temporary discomfort for long-term evolution. The machine's engineering principles, lightweight construction, aggressive geometry, focused aerodynamics, continue to influence Harley's development philosophy. Even the company's venture into electric and hybrid concepts carries echoes of the FXDR's lesson. Progress must be purposeful, not cosmetic. The bike story resonates with those who understand that courage in design does not always result in commercial triumph. Sometimes, it leads to something more valuable: a new direction. For riders lucky enough to own one, the FXDR 114 delivers an experience that feels deeply personal. Its handling demands engagement, its power rewards control, and its styling still captures attention years after production ceased. On open highways, its V-twin heartbeat feels like a statement against complacency. This machine challenges both rider and brand to stay restless, to keep questioning limits. Harley's decision to build the FXDR was not about chasing trends. It was about proving relevance in a rapidly changing market. Every component reflected an engineering argument made visible. When that argument met the road, it revealed both potential and resistance. Potential in what Harley could build, resistance in how the world perceived it. That duality defines the FXDR's legacy. It was ahead of its time and slightly out of place, a contradiction that makes it fascinating. Years later, enthusiasts still discuss it not as a failed product but as a vital step in Harley's evolution. Without the FXDR, later performance projects might never have happened. It gave Harley confidence to keep experimenting, to keep building motorcycles that stretch the imagination of what a Harley can be. For those exploring the company's lineage, the FXDR represents the moment Harley looked forward instead of backward. It is a story of speed and structure, but also of identity under pressure. In that story lies a universal truth for any brand rooted in heritage. Reinvention is never smooth, but it is always necessary. The FXDR 114 remains a symbol of that process, a machine that may have arrived early but never arrived empty-handed. It left behind lessons in courage, craft, and conviction. And for anyone who values authenticity expressed through engineering, it stands as a reminder that the road to relevance is never a straight line, but one worth riding to the very end.